ever looked at a child and seen only innocence? A small face, a soft voice, a life just beginning. But what if behind that innocence, something darker was hiding? Something capable of fear, pain, even death? Today, we're stepping into the chilling world of children whose stories shook the world. Some were killers. Some were victims. Some carried trauma no child should ever carry. And some became the reason others never reached adulthood. These are real events, real lives. And once you hear them, you won't forget them. This video contains disturbing details. Viewer discretion is advised. In 1968, in Newcastle, England, a little girl shocked the entire world. Her name was Mary Bell. She was only 10 years old when she committed a crime no one believed a child could ever do. On May 25, 1968, just one day before her 11th birthday, Mary lured a 4-year-old boy named Martin Brown into an abandoned house. A place where children often played, but that day, it became something else. Martin was found dead. Police thought it was an accident. There was no clear evidence, and the case was forgotten. But this was only the beginning. 2 months later, in July, another child went missing, 3-year-old Brian Howe. When his body was found, the truth was undeniable. There were marks on him, his hair was cut, and his body was mutilated. Police realized this was not an accident. This was a killer. And the killer was a child. Mary Bell was arrested. During questioning, she was calm. No fear. No guilt. She even attended the funerals, watching families cry. When asked why she did it, she said she wanted to see what it felt like. Not out of anger, not for revenge, just curiosity. Psychologists said her childhood was filled with trauma, neglect, abuse, no love, no safety. She was detained indefinitely. Mary spent 12 years in custody. In 1980, she was released at the age of 23 with a new identity. Today, she lives somewhere anonymously, protected by law. Anyone could walk past her and never know who she once was. A child who took 2 lives before even becoming a teenager. A reminder that innocence can hide darkness, and sometimes, monsters are not grown. Sometimes they are children. In 1921, in the quiet town of Abertillery, Wales, people believed they lived in a safe and peaceful place. But inside that town was a 15-year-old boy named Harold Jones. A boy everyone trusted. A boy the community adored. One day, an 8-year-old girl named Frida Burnell went missing. She was later found dead. Harold was arrested as a suspect, but the town believed he could never do something so cruel. He was declared innocent. The people celebrated his freedom. Some even hugged him, thinking justice had been served. But they were wrong. Just 17 days after his release, another girl, 11-year-old Florence Little, disappeared. When her body was discovered, the truth finally came out. This time, the evidence pointed directly at Harold. He confessed. A 15-year-old boy, responsible for the death of 2 young children. Harold Jones was sentenced to imprisonment. protected by his young age from execution. He spent years behind bars and was later released, blending back into society like an ordinary man. He lived a normal adult life. He worked jobs. He spoke to people. And no one could ever imagine the darkness he carried in his past. A child once celebrated as innocent, later remembered as one of the youngest killers in British history. Some monsters grow. Some monsters are created. And some are born. In 1993, in Liverpool, England, a case emerged that left the entire world speechless. A 2-year-old toddler named James Bulger disappeared from a shopping mall while his mother looked away for only a few seconds. Those seconds changed everything. Security cameras captured something no one expected. 2 10-year-old boys, John Venables and Robert Thompson, were seen holding little James by the hand, calmly walking him out of the mall. They were children themselves, but what they were about to do was darker than anyone could imagine. For hours, they led him across streets, through crowds, along busy roads, and no one stopped them. People assumed the boys were brothers. They assumed he was safe. But James never made it home. The boys took him to a railway line, far from help. There, they tortured him, beat him, left him on the tracks. A train later ran over his small body, and the world learned that humans, even at 10 years old, could carry terrifying cruelty. When the footage was released, the nation was horrified. 2 children became the youngest convicted murderers in modern British history. They were sentenced. But because of their age, they were later given new identities and released as adults. Some say justice was never truly done. Some say 2 children committed an act no child should ever even imagine. A reminder that evil has no minimum age. And sometimes, the hands that harm are just as small as the hands they hurt. In 1996, in Boulder, Colorado, a case emerged that still haunts America. A 6-year-old beauty pageant girl named JonBenét Ramsey was found dead inside her own home. Not outside. Not abducted. Inside the same house where her family slept. On Christmas night, she was last seen alive. The next morning, her mother discovered a ransom note demanding money written inside the house. Hours later, JonBenét's body was found in the basement. No forced entry. No broken windows. No signs of an intruder. The country froze. Her parents were questioned. Her brother, too. But every answer raised more questions. Who killed JonBenét Ramsey? Was it someone from outside? Or did the killer never leave the house at all? Investigators found strange details. The ransom note was unusually long. The handwriting didn't match perfectly. DNA evidence was confusing. And every theory led to more theories. Years passed. Documentaries, books, interviews. The world kept trying to solve her case. But truth never surfaced. No one was ever convicted. Her murder remains one of the most chilling unsolved cases in history. A beautiful child with a bright future. A family still divided by suspicion. and a mystery forever buried in the basement where her body was found. Some crimes break the law. Some break families. And some break entire nations. You've just witnessed stories darker than innocence should ever hold. Some questions were answered, and some will never be. Remember, evil doesn't always wear a grown face. Sometimes it's a child. This is DarkFiles TV. Stay aware. Stay curious. We'll meet again in the next case.